Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our English podcast.
Hi, friends. Today's topic is something almost everyone has experienced.
Yes, today we're talking about how to deal with toxic people.
Ooh, this is such an important topic. Difficult people exist everywhere.
At work, at school, even sometimes in our own families.
And remember, this podcast uses easy words, so it's perfect for English learners.
If you hear a new word, don't worry. We will explain it in simple English.
Let's start.
Have you ever noticed how spending just 10 minutes with a very specific type of person can leave you feeling completely exhausted?
Oh, absolutely. Like you just ran a marathon.
Right, exactly. A mental marathon. You walk away, your jaw is tight, you are second-guessing everything you just said, and you just feel this heavy exhaustion.
Yeah. And it turns out there is actual science behind that feeling. When you talk to someone who is always criticizing you, your body feels it like a real physical danger.
Which is wild to think about. And for anyone listening who is, practicing their English with us today, let's explain that a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The body treats it like a physical threat.
Right, like a wild animal is attacking you. Your heart rate changes, and your brain's threat center, the amygdala, starts working overtime.
Wow, so your brain is literally getting ready to fight.
Yes. Your body is moving energy away from normal thinking just to prepare for this emotional attack. We call it a metabolic drain.
A metabolic drain. So it literally drains your physical battery.
Exactly. So that super tired feeling you get isn't just in your head, it is a biological reality.
And understanding that biological reality is our mission for today's deep dive. We are unpacking the actual mechanics of what we usually call toxic people.
Yes, and we should probably define that word.
Good idea. In everyday English, toxic means poisonous, like a chemical. But here, we mean a person who poisons your mood or your energy.
Right. And we have put together a lot of research to give you real tools to protect your mental health, recognize these bad patterns, and, get your energy back.
But before we get into the defense strategies, we have to make something really clear. We're not talking about a normal, healthy disagreement.
No, definitely not.
Like if you and a coworker are arguing about a project at work and it gets a little heated, that is just normal human friction.
Yeah, conflict is just a normal part of working together. A healthy disagreement is about a specific problem, but toxic behavior is different. It is a repeated pattern.
Repeated, so it happens over and over again.
Exactly. It is a consistent pattern of behavior that harms other people or drains their emotional energy. It isn't just an accident. It is how they choose to interact with the world.
That repeated pattern is the main clue. But to defend against it, we have to know exactly what it looks like in real life.
And that gets a little bit tricky because these behaviors usually wear disguises.
Right. They don't wear a name tag that says, I am toxic. So let's look at some examples you might see at work or in your family. Our source material lists a few types, starting with the victim.
Ah, yes, the victim.
With this person, no matter what goes wrong, it is always someone else's fault. Life is always unfair to them, and they never take responsibility for their own mistakes.
The psychology behind the victim is tied to something called cognitive dissonance.
Oh, that's a big phrase. Let's break that down for our listener.
Sure. Cognitive dissonance basically means having two ideas in your head that completely disagree, which makes you feel terrible.
Like knowing smoking is bad for you, but you smoke anyway.
Perfect example. For a person playing the victim, their self-esteem is so weak that admitting they made a mistake would completely crush them.
So they just change the story instead.
Exactly. Their brain completely rewrites the story so they're always the innocent one. It is a defense mechanism, but it makes real friendship impossible because they can never say, I'm sorry, I was wrong.
That makes a lot of sense. If being wrong destroys their confidence, they literally cannot afford to be wrong.
Yep, they just can't do it.
And then in that same office or family, you often find the exact opposite person, the constant critic.
Oh, the constant critic. Nothing is ever good enough for them.
Literally nothing. You could give them the cure for a cold and they would complain about the color of the medicine bottle. They find flaws in everything.
What's fascinating here is how these different behaviors actually share a common goal. They are both about control. And that brings us to a really tricky one, conditional kindness.
Conditional kindness. So kindness that comes with conditions or rules.
Yes. This person can be very warm, charming, and generous. But it is entirely a transaction. like a business deal.
So they are only nice if they're getting something out of it.
Exactly. The moment you stop doing what they want or you aren't useful to them anymore, that warmth just disappears instantly.
And our source links that directly to the most confusing type of all, the controller.
This is a really tough one to deal with.
It really is. The controller is the person who tells you what to wear, who to talk to, and how to spend your time. But they don't yell or give orders like a boss.
No, they hide the control. They disguise it as love.
Right. They say things like, oh, I'm only suggesting this because I worry about you, or I just want the best for you. They use the language of love as a weapon.
And that is so confusing for the person on the receiving end.
It poses a massive problem. If this controlling behavior is designed to look like real affection, how on earth are you supposed to spot the trap? It seems so easy to mistake a controller for a really caring friend.
Well, you have to run what psychologists call the autonomy test.
The autonomy test. Autonomy just means independence, right? Making your own choices.
You got it. The real difference is how this person reacts when you make your own choice. Genuine affection supports your independence, even if you don't take their advice.
Right. A real friend will say, okay, do it your way, I support you.
Exactly. If you say, thanks for the advice, but I'm going to handle this my own way, a good friend respects that. But a controller sees your independence as a threat.
Because they are losing control over you.
Yes. When you show independence, their fake kindness instantly turns into anger. They might try to make you feel guilty, or they might just stop talking to you completely.
Wow, that sudden switch from being nice to punishing you?
Ugh.
That is the trap snapping shut.
That is exactly what it is.
Okay, let's unpack this. Once you run that autonomy test and you realize, oh, wow, I am dealing with a controller or a constant critic,
Yeah,
you have to protect your own mind.
you definitely.
And the most common advice across all our sources is, and we've all heard this, don't take it personally.
It's a classic saying.
It is. But honestly, it kind of sounds like a cheap bumper sticker. When someone is constantly insulting your personality, it feels completely personal.
Of course it feels personal. The attacks are chosen specifically to hurt your feelings. But we have to look at the psychology of something called projection.
Projection. Can you explain that simply?
Sure. When a toxic person attacks you, they are usually just taking their own anxiety or bad feelings and throwing them onto you.
Oh, I see. So they feel bad about themselves and they project it or throw it onto me?
Exactly. They can't handle their own feelings of not being good enough, so their brain protects them by pretending you are the one who isn't good enough.
Wow. So their criticism isn't actually about me at all.
No, it is a live broadcast of their own internal problems. Recognizing this changes everything.
I understand how projection works, but I want to push back on this a little bit. Is it really that easy to just ignore it?
Well, no, it's not easy at all.
Right, because if you are around this person for months or years, like a boss or a family member, that negativity acts like a computer virus. It slowly changes how you think about yourself.
It really does.
If someone tells you every single day that you are bad at your job, your brain will eventually start believing them. You start questioning your own reality.
You are describing gaslighting perfectly.
Gaslighting. We hear that word everywhere on the internet these days.
We do, but people often use it wrong. Gaslighting isn't just lying. It is a very specific type of manipulation designed to make you doubt your own memory and your own sanity.
Like if I say the sky is blue and you tell me every day it's green until I finally think I might be crazy.
Exactly. And when you face that kind of manipulation, you can't just say, don't take it personally. You need real, solid proof. And this is why our source recommends keeping a success journal.
A success journal. I found this idea brilliant. It acts like an external hard drive for your memory.
Yes. A safe place to store the truth.
You literally write down your wins, nice things healthy people say about you, and your real achievements.
Right. You document the facts.
So when the toxic person tries to tell you that you are worthless, you don't have to search your tired brain to fight them. You have a written list that proves them wrong.
Precisely. It anchors you in reality. And that ties directly into another really important defense mechanism, physical self-care.
You mean like sleeping, exercising, and eating well?
Yes. Sleep hygiene, cardio, nutrition, all of it.
Which honestly felt a little strange to me at first. Like, why is sleep in a guide about psychological defense?
It seems strange until you look at the brain. Dealing with manipulative people takes a huge amount of energy from your prefrontal cortex.
And the prefrontal cortex is the part of the brain that handles logic, right?
Exactly. It handles logical thinking and emotional control. If you don't sleep well or you are super stressed, that part of the brain gets very weak.
So you can't think clearly.
Right. And your emotional brain takes over. When you are super tired, you just don't have the brain power to remember your success journal or stay calm.
So basically, physical health is the wall that protects your mental health.
It is the literal foundation of your boundaries, yes.
So assuming we have built that foundation, we are sleeping well, we have our success journal, we have to actually use this in the real world. We need an outer defense.
Yes, it is time for action.
And that brings us to setting boundaries. A boundary is just a clear rule about how people are allowed to treat you.
Right, like saying, please do not speak to me with that tone of voice.
Exactly. But the main problem isn't that people don't know how to set a rule. It's that setting the rule makes them feel incredibly guilty.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that guilt comes from how we are raised. From a very young age, we are taught that being a good person means always saying yes.
Yeah, being accommodating, being the nice guy.
Exactly. Society often teaches us that being nice just means letting people do whatever they want. So when you finally draw a line and say, no, I won't accept this, it feels like you are being mean.
We really have to completely change our definition of kindness. Because if your kindness doesn't include being kind to yourself, you are just hurting yourself.
That is so incredibly true.
Setting a boundary is just teaching people how to interact with you.
Right.
But, the way you set that boundary has to change depending on where you are.
Right. The situation matters.
Let's talk about what to do in the moment. You are standing face to face with someone who is actively trying to make you angry.
They want you to lose your temper.
Right. So what do you do?
Well, the profanation, the poking and annoying you, is designed to upset you. If they make you yell, they can suddenly pretend to be the victim and say, wow, look how angry you are.
Oh, wow. So they flip it on you.
Exactly. The best defense in that exact moment is to stay completely neutral. Show zero emotion. The source recommends taking slow, deep breaths.
Deep breathing. And to be clear, this isn't just like magic yoga advice.
Not at all. It is biology. Slow breathing physically stimulates something called the vagus nerve in your body.
The vagus nerve, what does that do?
Think of it like a circuit breaker in your house. When a toxic person sends a huge shock of bad energy at you, breathing deeply flips the switch. It stops your body from panicking.
So you stay calm and objective.
Yes. You just look at them and show no emotion. And because you don't get angry, you ruin their little game. They don't get the drama they wanted.
That is a great trick for a one-on-one chat. But that strategy has to change completely if this person is someone you work with every day.
Oh, absolutely. Work is a different environment entirely.
You can't just deep breathe your way out of a bad boss trying to ruin your career. In a workplace, you have to collect evidence.
Workplace toxicity requires you to be almost like a detective. You stay calm, but you document everything.
Right. You save the emails. You write down the time and date when they say something inappropriate.
You build a paper trail. Because if you ever need to go to human resources or HR.
And HR is the department that handles employee problems for our learners.
Exactly. If you go to HR, you cannot just say, this person makes me feel bad. That won't work. You need to show them a written list of facts and dates.
You essentially become a professional auditor of your own life. But what about friends? Personal friendships are totally different because you can just leave. There is no HR department for a bad friend.
That is true.
But I think in our culture, we see movies where ending a friendship means having a huge, dramatic argument in the rain.
Yes, the big cinematic speech, which is actually the worst possible idea with a toxic person.
Really? Why is that?
Because if you confront a controller directly, you are just giving them more material to gaslight you with. They will twist your words and start a massive fight.
So what does the source suggest instead?
It recommends something called the quiet fade.
The quiet fade.
Oh.
I like the sound of that.
It is very simple. Because a friendship is a choice, you just slowly pull away, you take a little longer to answer their text messages, you are politely busy when they want to hang out.
Oh, I see. You just slowly create distance without ever giving them the big dramatic fight they want.
Exactly. You just fade out.
So what does this all mean when the toxic person is someone we can't just fade away from? Like a parent, a brother, or a husband or wife.
That is the hardest situation of all.
It really is. In those relationships, our first instinct isn't to walk away or collect data. Our instinct is to fix them.
Yes, because we love them.
Right. We think if I just say the perfect words or if I just love them enough, a light bulb will go off in their head and they will finally change.
Psychologists call this the fixer fallacy. A fallacy is a false belief, and it is a trap because it comes from a good place, from empathy.
But it's still a trap.
It is. We have to face a harsh truth. You cannot force another person to change on the inside. Real change only happens when the person sees their own problem and decides to fix it themselves.
It's kind of like trying to fix someone else's computer when you don't have the password.
That is a perfect way to explain it.
You can smash the keyboard all day, you can get super frustrated, but you are locked out. You can't change their system.
Exactly. Believing you have the password to fix someone else's mind is a huge waste of energy.
So what do we do instead?
You accept that you only have the password to your own computer, your own choices, your own boundaries. When you accept that, you stop wasting all your energy.
You take that energy back. And when it comes to toxic family members, the source mentions getting outside help, right?
Yes. When you are stuck in a toxic family, your sense of what is normal gets completely broken. You need a therapist or a really honest friend who is not in the family to look at the situation.
Right. You needed to say, no, your brother's behavior is actually not okay.
Precisely. They act as your compass when the manipulation gets really confusing.
Which brings us to the final and maybe most difficult concept today. Forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
There is this popular idea that staying angry is like drinking poison. So you absolutely must forgive people to be healthy.
People say that all the time.
But it usually implies that if I forgive my toxic sister, I have to invite her back to my house for dinner. And doesn't that just break the boundary I just worked so hard to build?
It only breaks the boundary if you confuse forgiveness with reconciliation.
Okay, let's pause there. Those are two big words.
Right. So the source is very careful to separate them. Reconciliation means fixing the relationship so you are close again.
Like becoming friends again.
Yes. And reconciliation takes two people. The toxic person actually has to change their behavior and rebuild your trust. If they haven't done that, being close to them is dangerous.
So reconciliation is a two-person job. But what about forgiveness?
Forgiveness is a one-person job. It is a solo endeavor.
Oh, real? It doesn't involve them at all.
Not at all. Forgiveness has nothing to do with their behavior. It is just a choice you make inside yourself to stop carrying all that heavy anger.
Just putting the heavy weight down.
Exactly. You can fully forgive someone, you can hope they have a good life, while also keeping a giant steel wall between your life and theirs.
Wow. So I can forgive you from far away.
Yes. Healing does not mean you have to stand close to the person who hurt you.
That completely changes how I think about it. You can forgive the fire for being hot, but you don't have to walk back into the burning building.
That is exactly right.
Well, as we pull all of these threads together, let's review the main lessons from this deep dive. Navigating toxic behavior isn't just one simple trick, it's a whole system.
A holistic defense system.
First, you have to recognize the disguises, like seeing control hiding behind fake kindness. Second, you have to understand projection, so you know their insults are actually about their own problems, not you.
And then you move into active defense.
Right?
You use deep breathing to stay calm in the moment. At work, you switch to collecting facts and writing things down.
You let go of the idea that you can fix anyone else. And finally, you realize you can forgive someone without letting them back into your life.
It really all comes back to one core truth. Protecting your mental energy is not selfish. It is necessary.
It is the only way you can show up and be a good friend to the healthy people in your life who actually deserve your time.
Very well said.
But before we go, I want to leave everyone with one final kind of uncomfortable thought to think about.
Okay, let's hear it.
We spend so much time, and rightfully so, learning how to spot the constant critic or the controller in other people. We study these toxic behaviors so we can build our walls.
Right.
But how often do we accidentally do these things ourselves?
Oh, wow. That is a good question.
Have you ever used conditional kindness to get what you wanted? Have you ever played the victim just because you didn't want to admit you made a huge mistake at work?
I think everyone has at some point.
Exactly. So now that we really understand how these behaviors work, maybe the most powerful next step isn't just looking at other people. Maybe the real masterclass is looking at ourselves.
Auditing our own behavior.
Right. Because at the end of the day, the only person's behavior we actually have the power to change is our own.
That is a great point to end on.
Thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, keep your boundaries strong and protect your energy.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who might need this advice.
And remember, protecting your peace is never selfish. It's necessary.
Stay calm, stay confident, and take care of your own energy.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone!